The Kingdom of Dal Riada was a Dark Age kingdom located in northern Britain, existing from 501 CE to 840 CE. The name, Dal Riada, is a tribal name coming from the Irish Dal, which basically means of, and the name of an ancestor, Radia, so basically of Radia. Located in modern-day Scotland, it was a kingdom founded and settled by Irish colonists and controlled areas such as Argyll, the Hebrides and Isles such as Jura, Mull, Iona, parts of Ulster and Northern Ireland, and the Dalriadian capital was located at the stone fort of Dunnard. In 850, its people and systems were incorporated with that of the Picts to form the Kingdom of Alba, or as the English called it, Scotland. Post-Roman Dark Age Britain was a giant hot mess. This is a fact. The collapse of the old Roman establishment, coupled with the arrival of Germanic Saxons and Angles, made Britain a politically complicated place. For around 400 years, it was anyone's game, and warriors and tribes flocked to Britain to acquire wealth and glory. The area that Dal Riada encompassed was never controlled by the Romans, and had been inhabited for thousands of years, so the Roman evacuation did not actually impact them that much. Neolithic tribes had actually inhabited the area since 9000 BCE, and their legacy remains today in the form of burial mounds, standing stones, and cup and ring stone carvings such as those at Achnabrek. Dal Riada was home to a rugged and large coastline, making it a hot spot for seafaring people. The Irish did not suddenly arrive and begin colonising Western Scotland overnight, but slowly built connections and communities over hundreds of years. The history of the Kingdom of Dal Riada begins when King Fergus Mór moved the seat of Clan Dal Riada from Northern Ireland to Western Scotland. The Irish Dalriadian kingdom was a small polity, located in modern-day County Antrim in Northern Ireland, centred around Dunseverick Castle. As to why Fergus migrated remains unknown, but it is suspected that Fergus lost a series of conflicts against the northern Neil of Tara and the Dal Fiatach of Ulster. Basing his seat of power in an old stone fort named Dunnard, Fergus and his descendants slowly built Dal Riada into a sizable and important northern British kingdom. Bordered by the Britons of Strathclyde, the Angles of Bernicia, and the Picts of Pickland, Dal Riada was capable of defending its territory through both land and naval warfare. The people of Dal Riada before Fergus had been given the name Scotti by the Romans, and when the Irish migrated, the name stuck. The Irish settlers of Dal Riada became known as the Scots to some and the Gaels to others. Some historians, such as Bannerman and Campbell, propose that the Scottish Dalriadians were not actually migrants from Ireland, but a completely different people. But this suggestion has not received significant scholarly support. I don't really want to comment too much on this, as it concerns the ancestry of the Scots, and if I've learned anything from history, is that having a bunch of Scots angry at you usually ends really, really poorly. There were 35 kings of Dal Riada, some ruling for decades, others ruling for mere months, so I will pick out a few notable kings to focus on. I'm using Ian Whitaker's Kings of the Dal Riada from 500 to 842, as Whitaker creates a pretty clear royal line, while also understanding the difficulties of creating a royal line from a period with no surviving writings or first-hand accounts. We've already talked about Fergus Mór, the founder of the kingdom and whose blood runs through every Dalriadian and therefore Scottish king's veins. But just to revisit him, the first king of Dal Riada was a man named Fergus Mór mac Niset, who was claimed to be a descendant of Conaire Mór, a famous Irish king. Fergus Mór's great-grandson and the sixth king of Dal Riada was Aidan mac Gabran of Shenel Gabran, who ruled 574 CE to 608 CE, ruling for a period of about 34 years. Under Aidan's rule, Dal Riada was at its peak, conquering significant territory from the Picts. During the conference at Drumsiet, Aidan and the king of the northern Neil regulated relations between Scottish Dal Riada and the Northern Irish. He was defeated by Athelfrith of Northumbria at the Battle of Degsastan, where he survived, but he went to retire from kingship to a monastery on the island of Kintyre. From 637 CE, Dal Riada was ruled through a dual kingship, which was a common Irish custom of the time. Ruled by the 9th king, Domnall Brecc, and the 10th king, Ferchar, this is when we begin to see the fortunes of Dal Riada begin to decline. The death of Domnall Brecc in battle saw political infighting occur between the different houses of Dal Riada. After both kings' death, Dal Riada, like much of Britain, fell under Northumbrian overlordship and paid tribute, which was eventually ended in 685 CE in the Battle of Dunitchen with a Dal Riadian victory. In 696 CE, the 17th king of Dal Riada, Ferchar gained power, and this was noticeable as it was the first time the junior house of Chanel-Lorraine held the kingship. Intermarriage with the Picts led Alpin mac Echard to inherit matrilineally the kingdom of the Picts during his brother Eochard's reign. He then subsequently lost the Pictish kingship in 726 CE. Onegus, the king of the Picts, led a period of Pictish domination over the Irish kingdom. Dal Riada was re-established in about 750 by Ed Finn, the 25th king. Finally, from 840 to 850 CE, Kenneth mac Alpin, the 35th king of Dal Riada and king of the Picts, unified the two kingdoms to become the Kingdom of Alba, which we know as the Kingdom of Scotland. The royal line continues, but from here on it is a history of Scotland and the Scots, not of Dal Riada. To call the Kingdom of Dal Riada a kingdom is difficult. It's not really a kingdom in the feudal sense, but it's more like an assembly of related clans that get together and elect a king. Dal Riada, as we know, had a total of 35 separate kings, starting with Fergus and ending with Kenneth mac Alpin, who became the first king of Scotland. The royal line of Dal Riada was split between 4 separate houses, all of which could claim a blood tie to Fergus, and all held the kingship at some point. The 4 houses were Chanel Congal, who was descended from Fergus's firstborn grandson, Chanel Gabran, descended from Fergus's second-born grandson, Chanel Lorraine, descended from Fergus's brother, and Chanel Angusta, descended from Fergus's other brother. Each house was ranked by the amount of fighting men and ships it could produce. The largest house, Chanel Gabran, could raise approximately 560 men, compared to the 420 from Chanel Lorraine and the 430 from Chanel Angusta. There were specific rules as well about how one became a Dal Riadian king. Well, perhaps guidelines is more accurate than rules. Rule 1. Only a male, directly descended from Eric, Fergus's father, was eligible to succeed to the kingship. Unfortunately, we don't have any badass Dal Riadian queens we can talk about. Rule 2. Succession to the kingship was confined to sons of former kings. Only 4 of the 35 total kings were not themselves sons of kings. Rule 3. The preferred succession was from a king to a patrilineal cousin. So 16 kings were succeeded by their cousins. Rule 4. Direct succession from brother to brother was preferably avoided. There are only 5 cases of brother to brother succession. Rule 5. Direct succession from father to son was preferably avoided. There are only 6 cases of this type of succession. And Rule 6. A son of a former king was preferred. In all, 28 of the 35 of the Dal Riadian kings, that's 80%, were sons of kings. We've talked about the political makeup of Dal Riada. Now we're going to talk about the social makeup, specifically land practices and religion. Farming and land practices of Dal Riada were similar to those of other Dark Age British kingdoms. Most people worked in agriculture with almost no urban population. The region of Dal Riada itself is rather fertile, and by 500 CE, small local farming operations had been in effect for some time. We begin to see the evidence of crops being grown, we begin to see the evidence of forests being cleared and use of rivers. Specifically, sheep and cattle were used as a prime source of food. Dal Riada began to trade with the rest of the world. We can see there's evidence of trade with Ireland, of course, but also along the western coast of the Atlantic, so France, Spain, Portugal, even evidence of places from as far away as Constantinople. Religion. Religion played an absolutely vital role in Dal Riada. Dark Age Britain was home to a variety of religions. Remember, it was a hot mess. The Celts and Picts had their gods, the Germanic Angles and Saxons worshipped a god called Woden, and the Irish had been converted to Christianity almost 100 years before the founding of the Kingdom of Dal Riada. Dal Riada was settled by Irish colonists, so they followed Irish Christianity, which at the time was viewed warily by the Catholic Church for its differences to traditional orthodoxy. Many crosses were carved in the Irish style, and monasteries founded in Dal Riada, some of which can still be seen today. The most significant religious site in Dal Riada was, and still is, the abbey on the island of Iona. Founded in 563 CE by an exiled Irish monk named Columcille or Columba, Iona became the spiritual hub of Gaelic Christianity for hundreds of years. a centre of great learning, with many monks and future kings becoming educated on the island. Any source of education was vital, as the lack of learning severely impacted Dark Age British populations. In some parts of Dark Age Britain, the technology of the wheel was lost, so any form of education and learning was absolutely critical. Many written works were also created there, including many of the infamous Irish Annals, which are so useful to historians today. The influence the monastery had on the kingdom cannot be understated, as the majority of kings were able to rule due to the support and backing of Iona. For example, King Aidan mac Gabran, the great Dalmatian king, only became king after Columba saw a vision of him ruling as king, thereby legitimizing his rule as a Christian king. Dal Riada did not end in flames and conquest as many other kingdoms have throughout history. Dal Riada was joined with the Pictish kingdom to form Scotland, while many of the outlying islands were taken by the Norse to form the Kingdom of the Isles during the Viking era. Dal Riada is a vital part of both Irish and Scottish history. It's a piece of history that ties two peoples together through kinship and shared experience. Hi, I'm Jordan. Thank you so much for watching the latest huge history review about Dal Riada, the Irish Kingdom. I learnt a lot through this about both Irish and Scottish history together, and I know far too much about Irish kings. I'm going to have a new video coming out soon. It's going to be about the letter E. If you have any suggestions about any historical place or person or event that starts with the letter E, put them in the comments and let me know, and I'll have a look at them. But I have a couple of ideas in my head if that is not the case. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.